Hello everyone, and welcome to the 22nd edition of the Neuchâtel International Fantastic Film Festival. And for this second day of our Imaging the Future Symposium, in which we ask questions and ask people to reply to them on issues of technologies, innovation within audiovisual media. And we're very lucky for this afternoon to have two events on VFX. This first one with Chris Blaser, which I'll be introducing in a second, followed by one about the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, with two VFX supervisors and animation supervisors from the UK, from Framestore and Rise. And I think it gives a very good idea of working with different sizes of teams and budgets, perhaps, to be able to show that range. And that's why we're starting with a very local film, although not entirely, Mad Heidi, which I'm sure and I hope many of you had the chance to see either before or last night. And we're lucky to have Chris Blaser, who's the VFX supervisor on the film, and who'll be giving you some details about the VFX breakdown, a breakdown of the VFX that went on in that movie. I'm going to stop chatting now, and I'm going to let Chris take the floor, and I'm going to wish you an excellent event.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for having me here. Yes, I'm going to talk about Mad Heidi, about this mad journey, what we have, and shot the movie 2021 in Switzerland, and the whole production is, except for the cast or some casts, is completely Swiss-made. So my agenda today, I will introduce myself a little bit deeper, where I'm coming from, what I have done, and then going into Mad Heidi, a little bit about the background, how it all started, or how I get into the whole production of Mad Heidi. A short break about the investment and the funding. That will be for sure interesting, because we had a complete new way to do that. And then about Cloudscape, a short note. That's the visual effects company that did all the visual effects, except for a few shots that I did with Sandra together, one of the directors. And then a few breakdowns of the artwork we did with Mad Heidi on visual effects side. Sorry. So my name is Chris Blaser. I'm a visual effects supervisor and visual effects data wrangler, as well as doing a lot of other things within and around the whole digital art area, from as creative director, bringing together technology and the creative side to create visual effects, not only visual effects, also extended reality, VR, AR, and at the moment the all-known term metaverse, because it's still a little bit hard to be a visual effects supervisor only based in Switzerland. It's not that much in the industry to do. I grew up in Switzerland, in Zug, or in Canton Zug, in Bar, 1979, on a farm of my grandparents with my brother and my sister. And the next kids were like a kilometer away. That's not far distance for other countries, but in Switzerland it's a little bit far. So I start to draw a lot of things, and as well I did later on then a complete different apprenticeship as a metal builder. After that, I get into more and more into web design, interactive media, and a lot of other things, and founded, next to my bachelor as a multimedia producer at the SA in Zurich, my company, or my first company in 2000. Today I have to say that nearly 25 years in CGI graphics experience, as well as nearly 20 years in visual effects, doing all kinds of things in Switzerland, from image movie to commercials to whatever I can get my hands on. As I said, I founded my company 2000s and was part-time 2010 of Egli Film in Boost. That was one of the biggest post-production company in Zurich at that time. These days now got bought by Egli Film, but lost then the whole part of visual effects itself called Boost at that time. I was visual effects supervisor in-house as well as flame artist, and tried to create the first data wrangling system for Boost that we can get into more and more in the digital area of filmmaking, especially for the digital cameras. 2015, I started with 3D scanning, mostly photogrammetry with aerial, meaning with drones, as well as terrestrial with photographs, and for all kinds of use cases, for virtual reality, what pops up at the time, creating 3D scenes for immersive experiences, for museums, and also for a lot of ancient history stuff that gets or need to be scanned to show display or showcasing. And 2020, strange-wise, during Corona, it was the most extended years to shoot as a visual effects supervisor and data wrangler on set. I did actually 2 big movies. One was Mad Heidi, and a TV show, Wilder, season 4 with Claudia Fay. And also a big movie called Véritable that we shot in 2020 during COVID, what was a quite intense experience because we shot in Switzerland for 4 weeks, then North Italy, and as well in Germany and Vienna during the heavy lockdown, which had their own journey to succeed the movie. So, enough about me. Mad Heidi. I don't know how many did see the movie already. Oh, quite a few. Cool. Okay. So, for the other ones, the movie is 90 minutes long. We had a decent budget of 3.3 million. We started the pre-production in May 2021. Had like closely 3 months. Was actually really a tight schedule to do that, from 0 to the whole movie or the first day of shooting. We had 29 days, I think, right? Yeah. Shooting all over in the area of Bern, as well in the French part here, close by in Martigny, and in the French part of the Valais, where actually the upside coming from, I think, it comes from. Oh yeah, okay, true. We shoot all the things mainly on the RE-LF. As well, we had a big camera, a Blackmagic Pocket 6K with us. In the fight scenes in Martigny, we have, I think, 4 additional Blackmagic cameras. Quite a lot. That gives me a headache because I didn't calculate that much amount of data to back it up. And then we had 4 months editing time on Avid, and visual effects production time was around 3 months. So, here, for those who didn't see it, the teaser.
Ah, peaceful Switzerland, beautiful mountains, delicious cheese, and of course, Heidi.
Go, Peter!
Love you, baby girl.
But you've seen nothing yet.
Dear citizen, today we shall celebrate Switzerland's new order. Gentlemen, world domination to world domination.
This man has been charged with the production of illegal dairy products.
ready for action. Beautiful Swiss girls, Swiss Army katanas, and of course, fondue boarding.
I love the smell of cheese in the morning.
This is the cheesiest movie you'll ever see.
The only good cheese is fried cheese.
Coming for you, you fucking bastard!
She's one badass Heidi. She's Mad Heidi.
Well. Something's yodeling in my pants.
Yeah, well, that was the teaser. It gives a good view of how the movie looked like at the final. So about the funding, as I said before, the funding is a little bit special in that case, and actually, I think it's clear to say it's also Mad Heidi is a piece of film history because actually it is the first crowd-invested film. So all over we had a crowd investment, meaning that all of you probably know crowdfunding, where you could just fund money to a project and then you get some reviews or rewards, I have to say. It is kind of similar, but you're really investing in a movie. That means that the money you're investing, you get it back over time, hopefully faster than the 7 years. But I think it was created around 2000 or 2000. Hannu and Valentin presented it at the ZFF in 2000, and we started the campaign end of the year 2000, I think. 2020. Okay. End of 2020. Right.
Autumn 2020.
Ah, okay. Good. Autumn 2020. Good. So we had an investment of 2 million locked there, and yeah, as you can see, we achieved it because we shot the movie. Of course, we have in the beginning several crowdfunding campaigns running for the script writing as well as other areas. We had several other funds and funds from SRF, what was quite a surprise for us all. Yeah, and short turn to Cloudscape. Cloudscape is a Zurich-based visual effects company, really small one. They have only 7 people. They were founded in 2009. I'm working together with them since a few years in several areas, as well as in commercials, in short movies, and on Mad Heidi. They also were involved in the early teaser shoot 2017, which we produced the first teaser for the crowdfunding campaigns. So, about my work on Mad Heidi, or an all over. We had about 160 shots in total. But that means also a lot of shots were like additional splatter effects on top, simple compositing, and we have around heavily 60 visual effect shots on set. Mainly from green screen to replacements to skies and other kinds of stuff. And I did, next to the visual effects supervising, I did the data wrangling for the whole movie, meaning I was also responsible to back up all the data from the cameras, from everyone else that's producing, from the sound department, photos and everything, to back it up and then hand it over to the post-production and to the production, that they can start editing as well as dealing with then the rushes and the dailies, meaning the previews from the previous shooting day. I did that because on a film set, or I made experience on a film set in Switzerland or around Europe, sometimes it's really hard to get the position as a visual effects supervisor that you're being all the time on set. So to avoid the problem that I have to book the whole 29 days, but being only maybe 10 days or 12 days on set, because maybe then the visual effects happen, we managed that I could do the data wrangling and being constantly on set. So if there is anything popping up, visual effects or something that was maybe not planned, or we have to figure out another way to shoot the scene, probably with enhancing it with visual effects, I'm being always on set. So that makes it easier instead of have to wait, or the visual effects or the shot will be done without any the needed necessary backplates or whatever. I also did a lot of 3D scanning, so we scanned nearly all the sets in 3D, as well as the props and the actors. So we have all the hats from the actors 3D scanned in high resolution, because we didn't know if we need that in visual effects, and we also have some other ideas later on what we will use them. Of course, we have a lot of green screen work, a lot of camera tracking, and of course HDR recordings as for environment lighting in 3D afterwards. Ooh, that's not the final presentation. Okay, I missed that. So there was a few slides missing, but it's okay. So we have one of the first shots we didn't do, but for big first visual effect shots was for sure the opening shot, what you see in the teaser with the cheese factory. We had a lot of CG elements in the background. We had sky replacement, matte paintings, 3D models on top of the building, as well as in the foreground, the start with Helvetia. That was quite a big thing. And the second one on the same location, that comes later, it was the big explosion we had, like 160 kilo of explosives or something like that. A huge thing to blow up the cheese factory. Thanks to our art director, Gian-Andri Bezzola. Sadly, he could not be here because he's as well driving through Holland by bike, or is on the way back, I don't know. He did a lot of the concept and amazing artwork around Mad Heidi. He was working closely with Sandro and Hanu to work all the details out, what's later on in CG or even happening in most of the shots. Because it's, of course, a visual business, we decided also to create pages for each shot that we have a visual reference, what should be in there, how it should look like, and how the final grading will be. The concept here, that's, I think, the final version from Gian-Andri, how the whole building should look like. Luckily, he also started to modeling the whole thing in 3D, so Cloudscape and the visual effects guys have had a little less work to do, which we could save some money, of course. Come on, what's happening? No. That's just a side shot from the outside shoot, from the location, to get a view how it looked like. Just one sequence from the opening sequence when the people get shot of the riot. Yeah, we shot a lot of blanks and make a lot of noise. You didn't hear that because that was not the part when we really shoot with blanks. here's the breakdown of the opening shot. Of course, completely wrong, because the Matterhorn definitely is not standing in Burgdorf in Bern. But we put the Matterhorn as much in the background as possible in the movie. So, but Cloudscape did a fantastic job. I also, another part of my work on Mad Heidi was the drone pilot and the drone operator for all the drone shots. So that was also one of my shots that we did with all the preparation for the visual effects. Oh, come on. That was too much further. Come on. So. Yeah, as I said, the second big shot we have was the explosion of the cheese factory at the end of the movie. Was shot on the same location. There is also a lot of set extension, background elements, explosions, destruction simulations. And as I learned yesterday, it was around 160 kilogram explosives, not 120. Actually, we expected much less. Actually, we were, at that day, we were, after the explosion, super hyped, but a little bit shocked, because actually, it was promised that it's only 10% of what we end up with. So, as you can see later how much that was. Again, here also, John Landry did a nice storyboarding as well, to showcase how the whole scene would run through. And of course, early scribbling. I don't know, it's from John Andre or from Sandro. Okay, so one of the directors made his first idea that John Andre worked with at the end. So that's actually behind the scenes part where the explosion happened. And as you can see, I mean, I was standing like approximately 50 meters away, but still it was super hot and yeah, quite impressive. But see for yourself. Sadly, the first time was so good that we didn't decide to do another one. We actually had the material to do another one. But yeah, luckily we moved the safety a little bit further, because I think otherwise we had a few actors burned. Because the special effects guy who did the explosion was quite confident that 3 to 6 meters is okay. I think we moved them to 10 meters, and still a few actors were like, okay, I feel it burns here. So, and also I think the wardrobe and the makeup department was running after the shot to the costume to check the costume if they're still okay or burned. So, yeah, and as you can see, I had a few track markers on the roof in front of it, and they get really heavy burned. So these are made out of plastic and normally bend at around 180 degrees. So yeah, it got quite hot. And funny thing, I mean, as we start at the scouting and figure out, okay, could we do that? We didn't expect that we can do the explosion there, because the building is under Heimatschutz, like restricted of important ancient building or important building. But they said, yeah, let's do it. It's okay. Make it happen. well, okay. I'm not sure if we had the biggest explosion in Swiss film history. I think not, but somewhere in the upper range.
They had a bigger one on Tuke, I think.
Okay, good. Damn, they beat us. Yeah, okay. Same guy. Okay, good. So, yeah. See, for sure for next time. Because afterwards, as Johannes said yesterday correctly, the whole crew were completely hyped and 2 days after still on adrenaline, like, let's do it again. Next to the case that we, anyway, or everyone was like, okay, let's do it. And for sure, in that 29 days that really were tough, such an event is really helpful. So that's the final breakdown from the explosion, which sadly from the framing, Cloudscape need to do more of the extension of the exploding itself, and then the whole destruction simulation with all the 3D scan I provide them from the existing buildings. They did a really beautiful job to destroy that big cheese and probably make a lot of fondu. Well, that was the one thing that we cannot do. And the script before, what you saw from Gian Andri, there was melted cheese flowing out, but that was probably too expensive to do that at the end. Then we had a lot of extensions for body modifications of the actors from cheese zombies. So we tried to do as much as possible in camera, meaning with special effects, makeup, and everything. But still, there is a lot of things that we need to advance and enhance with visual effects in total. That's definitely the wrong one. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. That's the breakdown of the bullet holes from the cheese zombie. I work closely with all the departments most of the time, especially with the makeup and the special effects department. So we created the clothes and everything with track markers, so we can cut it out and replace that with the background and the bullet holes with a little bit more gore, of course, as you can see here. So that was the movement and the background plate which we shot, and then enhanced that with some gory looking internal parts. And that's so far all what I can show, because there's not much. I have one thing left. That's the whole total breakdown. That's about 2 minutes from Cloudscape, about all the shots or the main shots they made. As you know, a small visual effects company don't have much time for their own marketing stuff, so to do a breakdown most of the time is a time-consuming thing. Well, would love to show you more, but that's all what we have at the moment, next to the daily jobs we have to do. Yeah, so that's it. That was the whole crew. As you can see, that's a really small crew. But actually, probably each of one of them had at least 2 jobs on the set or in the pre-production. So, but these all guys together with me make it happen, thanks to Sandro and Johannes with the cool idea, and thanks to them take me on board 2016 after the first meeting where we started to discuss about the teaser trailer what we created 2017. Yeah, so far that's Mad Heidi, and oh yeah, come on, so okay, that's for that. Thank you. Yes, so are there any questions?
Hello, thank you, good job, great job. Regarding the 3D scanning outside and for the actors, did you use only photogrammetry or did you use LiDAR or any other kind of 3D scanning technology?
What I used on especially on the characters, I used photogrammetry most of the time. It polarized, cross-polarized light. Most of the time in a dark room. I shot them twice. One time just a head sitting, and then standing for the whole body. So we have a reference. Of course, it was always a time issue because the actors were like for a short amount of time available, so it was more a little bit dirty and quick than really proper and good. But with shot with the Sony and 62 megapixel camera, so quite good resolution, and the outcome of the heads and everything is right good. Most of the sets I also shot with photogrammetry. Did a partial as enhancing with a small LiDAR scanner from RealSense L515, and as well then sometimes with the SLS hand scanner for a few props and everything. What I really used quite a lot on set was the deep sensor of the iPad for recording and for rough scannings. We used that as well for the pre-production because the cameraman Eric was in London, based in London. So to share some sets and everything, or to plan, make it easier, we scanned a lot of the exterior settings and locations to provide that as well, to figure out the perspective and everything. And I used Zephyr from 3D Flow for photogrammetry calculation. Yeah.
This is maybe a question for Johannes, but since you're here, I'll just ask, have you started crowdfunding for Heidi and Clara yet?
Not yet. Not yet. As we announced it, there will hopefully be Mad Heidi 2, Heidi and Clara. But at the moment we think it's still a bit too early. The movie is still growing. Next week we're going to Japan for the Japanese cinema release. And at the moment we feel we also need something different than Swiss mountains. So maybe we're going to make a different movie next, and then Mad Heidi 2 after the next movie.
Yeah, by the way, we should invite a drinking game. Each time when you see Matterhorn, you have to take a shot or something. Yeah, it's true. Some other questions? Yes.
Since you mentioned 3D scanning and working with the camera guy, so were you scanning the sets before you went shooting so you could basically do a storyboard with the camera?
Yes, both. I mean, we were scouting, I think I don't know, remember end of May, beginning of June, something like that. So I scanned a lot of the areas with the iPad just to have a 3D reference to hand it over as well to the art department, to the building department, to nearly any department that they could do the measurements in rough measurements. And then, yeah, for the actual sets, what we shooting in, I scan them between the shootings completely. Most time after we shot in it, so it has all the blood and the final makeover and everything on it. And also I used drones to scan, for example, the arena or the area of the cheese factory, for example. But yeah, we used in pre-production the 3D scans for. I'm not sure if they were used for storyboarding, but could be used. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helped.
Yeah, it helped.
Walk around in sets.
Yeah.
I've got a first very mundane question, and then a second one that is more about your workflow. The first one is, what in your okay, we could see that the skies on location were pretty bright, pretty blue, very blue.
Yes.
Which makes it a very strong composition anyway. And then on all the shots you add clouds. So is there, why why did you choose to add clouds?
That's a question actually I cannot answer. Probably because, I mean, a really bright blue sky in Switzerland is not really that often, especially not in the Alps, or in your area. But actually the reason, I don't know, maybe you know, Hanu? What's this?
Maybe it helped it to make it look more realistic sometimes when you, instead of just having a blue sky, to add some depth to it, also to make the shot look more interesting, I think. Especially in the shots where the camera is moving, like the opening shot, it gave it much more depth. I'd say that was one of the main reasons, probably.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think I don't know if it was designed or Cloudscape put it in. I think Cloudscape did a lot of work for themselves in combination with Sandro and Johannes, and as well with Jean-André, the art director of the movie. Because I was not that much involved directly after in the visual effects production phase.
And also I was wondering, the reference pictures are black and white drawings, line drawings, and then there's a lot of work on colors and stuff. And could you please explain how you divided the workflow, and who decided what at what point, and how you ended up deciding things?
Yeah, since we really had a tight schedule in pre-production, Jean-André came up with a lot of these concept drawings, or really fast, actually. That's why I helped him a lot with scans and provided him with other material. And then he puts together some mood boards. For example, I think the cheese factory was then really finalized after the shoot at all to match it with the vision of Johannes and Sandro, which I think take a lot of the screen captures from the scenes and do the kind of color grading preview in Photoshop. So Cloudscape had a visual reference, as well as collaborating together with Jean-André to figure out the final touch, the final look, and the final feel and the colors and the range.
And maybe I can add the concept artist. He designed all the cheese factory, for example. He drew it in Google SketchUp as a 3D model. So then he just quickly painted over it and could colorize it basically just painting over the 3D model so that he was faster.
Yeah. So since we had really tight production schedule, we had to take a lot of shortcuts in all directions. And I think the whole crew, as I said before, especially during pre-production, had a lot of several works and departments together to work with. I mean, in my case, since I'm also doing a lot of 3D printing and 3D scanning, I did a lot of 3D scanning. For example, one kill was with the music instrument where one of the soldiers get that in his face. So what we did, we scanned the whole face of the actor, made a mold, scanned the whole music instrument, take it apart, make the whole parts out of 3D printing so it fits in, that it looks like it's already stuck in his skull, and then helped the special effects department to create that with an easier way. So that was most of the case. And I tried to help out as much as I could with all the departments. For one reason, as a visual effects supervisor on set, it helps a lot that you already know what's going to happen and what you have to extend at the end. As well as, of course, in the short time when you don't have that much to do within the production, you can help out.
That's unfortunately all the time that we have today in this room, because we have to prepare for the next session. But I'd first like to thank you all for being here, and to thank Chris for coming over and making such an excellent presentation. And if you do have any more questions, I'm sure Chris will be available to do so just outside in the restaurant. Once again, thank you, and have a good festival. Thank you.
Thank you.